How are we? How are we? Where's the button? There we go. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another deadline stream. It is game week 23. I hope you're all doing well, and I can already feel there is going to be chaos during this stream. So thank you very much for joining. Thank you all for being in nice and early. I hope you've had a good week. I hope you're ready for a weekend full of FPL chaos, which I'm sure we will get once again. Before we dive in and do all the usual bits of questions, let's get in and say hello to some of you. Say hello in the chat. Let me know how you are. And yeah, then we will get into all of it. We will, of course, discuss Phil Foden. We will discuss the fact that I have not sold Phil Foden last night and how I feel about that this morning. But let's take a look at who is in. FPL Verts is in. Hello to you. Hello to Ian. Hello to FPL Sammy. Hello to Fiona. Hello to Ruben. Hello to Jordan. Hello Mikey, Jonathan, Zuni, Lenu, No Sensi. Hello to all the members and moderators in this morning. Callum, I hope you are all doing well. Thank you especially for your support on the channel, and to everyone else, hello to you as well. Paris, Ethan, Harry, Matt, Alvin, Mr. Carps, Johnny, Samuel, Mr. Banks, Frost, Mina, Dr. Yovan, Mr. Hopster, Nate, Borjan, Champ, Donovan, Manchester Maverick, Nick, Peter, Philip, Mozart, Gooch, Hugo, Jay Lee, Daniel, Tracy, Mesh, Mahmood, Mikey, Rob, Volva, High Flyer, and Christopher. Hello to you all. I hope you're doing well. So let's start off with a couple of things. My chair is... Sorry. My chair is sliding backwards. So I didn't sell Phil Foden last night. Basically, the reasoning for it is I was very, very 50-50 on the transfer. And the reason for it is I'm probably going to have to sell Tavernier anyway, right? And none of the transfer routes that I look at mean that I have the money to upgrade Tavernier. So I'm likely to do a Tavernier downgrade. So if I'm going to do a Tavernier downgrade, I'm going to have the money anyway. It is a better fixture for Foden. And there is a world where it isn't Foden that I sell. And I know that sounds very, very unlikely. But I could do something like, if Ekatike is bad, or let's say Saka is bad, sorry. I mean, the reason Saka's bench is Tavernier's ruled out, so just get the auto sub on it. But anyway, if Ekatike is bad, or like Saka's bad, I have other routes to buy Bruno. And let's say Foden starts today, City look great, and Foden scores. I might decide to do something else. It's unlikely. Right? It's unlikely. I agree, right? The chances are that I will get to today, Foden will do nothing, he'll disappoint, he might not even start, and I'll do Foden to Bruno, and I'll downgrade Tavernier, right? That's the plan, probably. But if we get to the end of today, or into tomorrow, and let's say Foden starts, City look better again, and Foden scores, and Ekatike plays 60 minutes or something and blanks again, or I get to tomorrow and Saka blanks again and Foden's look good and Ekatike's look good, then there are other transfer routes for my team that don't involve selling Foden. Because as much as we are all fed up of Foden, right? Absolutely we all are. There is a world, if he plays well or City don't look awful, that from game weeks like 26 to 30, they have a pretty nice run of fixtures, especially if they do finish in the top 8 of the Champions League and they don't have to play those midweek rounds of playoffs. Of course, they're likely to blank in 31, which I'd have to deal with him anyway. What I would say is, based off the chaos that already seems to be going on this morning with predicted lineups, I wish I'd done the transfer. I kind of just wish... Do I think Bruno's better than Foden this week? No. It saves me a transfer next week. And then I don't have to stress or worry about it this morning. It's not the end of the world. The next thing we're going to do is it's the return of the notepad. It is the return of the notepad. So we are going to have a look at what I would do in different scenarios. Yes, I'm back home. Things are a little bit less chaotic than they were last week. It is so good. I cannot tell you the difference it makes. I cannot tell you the difference it makes to be back home and my own desk and my own setup. So you're £100 lighter, but you got the Foden info. Unfortunately, I didn't. There was one of the City leakers claiming that he had the lineup and he'd charge people £100 to get a different player to know if they start or not. And I was messaging him on Twitter, like openly about it, asking if there was a refund policy if he was wrong. But I didn't do it. I did wonder about it. And I did wonder if it was just, let's just do it, right? Let's just buy 3 players for the good of the community. Let's buy O'Reilly, Haaland, and Foden and just see. And if he's wrong, I'd have the screenshots to prove that it was him and etc. But I decided not to, and it is too late for me to do it now. So let's see. We might get some news on Twitter. We might not. I'm also keeping an eye on other people and when they post their teams that had information in the past that don't necessarily share it all the time. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that as well. So yeah. So let's wait and see. So the scenarios are, if there's no news on your City player, unless it feels very risky, I would start them. So if we don't get news on O'Reilly, Semenyo, Cherky, Bruno, Foden, Haaland, I would just start them all, right? So then it's for me, right? Foden starts, Haaland starts, Foden benched, Haaland starts, Haaland benched, Foden starts, Foden, I put them the wrong way around, that's going to annoy me. Foden benched, Haaland benched, right? So those are the 4 scenarios that we've got. Of course, if this is the case, we just roll. If Foden's benched and Haaland starts, I expect that I will do Foden to Bruno Fernandes and Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall for a -4. Now, I don't love it because I don't expect I'll probably be benching Dewsbury Hall, but I don't see a better alternative. Like, I could go to James Garner, but Dewsbury Hall being back, I think, is good. Like, I was looking at Dewsbury Hall's data and what he does. He's basically a mini Rodgers. His data is almost identical to Rodgers. Rodgers has slightly better goal threat, whereas Dewsbury Hall has slightly better assist threat. But Dewsbury Hall is on some set pieces, which Rodgers isn't. So I quite like Dewsbury Hall, and I quite like Rodgers. So in theory, if I like Rodgers, I like Dewsbury Hall. If Foden starts and Haaland's benched, I think I roll and just bench Haaland. And I captain Thiago or Ekitike or Saka in that example. I don't quite know. I bench Haaland and I probably just play Richards or Dorgu. If this happens, then I do the same as here. And then I also just bench Haaland. And it's the same. So that's kind of where my flow diagram is for the moment. Does that make sense? I mean, any news on Bruno Guimaraes? I'd be surprised if Bruno G starts, if I'm honest. They said that he might play, but they don't know the extent of the injury. And that just doesn't bode well for me. Why are we pretending like there's any chance? I know we don't normally get it, but we don't get City news. I mean, then, yeah, no news or City player. We just do the top, right? You just start them, right? Anyway, that's where we are. This is where the team is. I wish I'd done the Foden to Bruno move last night, but I didn't. How long left on the stream? All the way until the deadline, so an hour and 45. Well, actually, it'll be more. It'll be like 2 hours because we'll stick around for a little bit afterwards as well. Mukiele or Anderson to start. That's pretty close. Let's check what I put. I think, is stuff even going around in the top corners? Probably not. No, there you go. Anderson, I just about play over the Sunderland defenders because it's a pretty big game for West Ham. Why Dewsbury Hall? Would I go for and die if I had the money? Yes, I would, but I have to if I need to do Foden to Bruno, I have to downgrade Tavernier, so I don't have the money to do it, basically. Sold Foden, kept Cherky, low-key nervous. I mean, you're trying to predict the City lineup is the same as everyone else, right? It's a complete minefield, and you may be right with that, you may be wrong. Like, a lot of the City predicted lineups have Cherky in and not Foden, but since people saw that Doku is still a doubt, like he couldn't even play in Bodo, people are more inclined to think that they both start. And it's Cherky right wing, Semenyo left wing, and then Foden in the middle. So, I mean, I'm not going to spend loads of this stream trying to speculate on what the City lineup is going to be. In the top right, you do have a predicted lineup. That's basically what I predict. It's a predicted lineup. Donnarumma, Krishanov, Margay, Ake, O'Reilly. So Krishanov at right back. Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Cherky, Semenyo, Haaland is my prediction. I don't know. So, yeah. Do I think Ekitike starts? I do. I just think he's their best attacker. Again, like if I get to the lineup, if I get to this evening and Ekitike doesn't start, then, like if we heard before the deadline that Ekitike didn't start, I'd probably do Ekitike to a forward and Tavernier to Bruno for a hit. The issue is who that forward would be. It would probably have to be Creepy Jr. And then I just keep Foden. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. Why am I not selling Saka? So that's one of the other reasons to keep Foden this week is it could be Saka that goes. It could be Saka that goes. I think it's unlikely that it's Saka that goes, but what is going on? Why can't I scroll? There we go. No. What's going on? Oh, there we go. Fixed it. Don't forget to like. Thank you as well. If you've just joined and you could like and subscribe, that would be great. So if I have one free transfer and enough money in the bank, would I do Foden to Bruno? So in that scenario, I'd wait until the deadline now. If we don't hear any news, now that you've missed the price rise, I'd probably just play Foden. But yeah, so I probably wouldn't do it now. Start two out of O'Reilly, Virgil van Dijk, Anderson, and Malik Chow. Again, let me get the list up. Virgil van Dijk, I probably would bench, but the only issue with him is if Bournemouth are without quite a few key players, it's not the end of the world. I would probably chance O'Reilly over Van Dijk, and I'd probably play Anderson over. No, actually, I'd probably play Chow. I'd probably play Chow, O'Reilly. Yeah. Dewsbury Hall is expected to be in the Everton squad. I don't think he's going to start, though. I mean, if we got news that Foden and Ekitike would both bench, then I don't quite know what I would do in that situation. But Ekitike, they're not until the late kickoff. So. You have Konate first bench, then Potts and Marshall and Foden, Nori, Gakpo in your 11. 3 transfers planning wildcard 24. Okay, just pull it now. If you think your team is the same on wildcard in 23-24, then you could pull it now. It might depend a little bit on if we hear anything on Foden or Nori. You might want to have a wildcard draft set up, and you could just use one transfer to potentially sell Gakpo and keep Foden and Nori, or you just go early on it. Sorry, Saka is benched just because Tavernier is out injured, so I'll just get the auto sub, but I can just put it like that for now. It's been a long time since I've done that, so in a bad game week, it brings me luck. You're strongly thinking about playing a back forward. I played Chaël or Alderete in place of one of Foden, Bruno Guimaraes or Rodgers. To be honest, I don't think you'll have a decision there because I don't expect Bruno G to play. So, I mean, if I had to bench one, I'd probably bench Rodgers out of them away at Newcastle. Not the easiest fixture. There are a lot of good games on Sunday. Yeah, I'm going to have Thiago. I'm going to have Anderson. I might have Richards if Haaland doesn't start. I'm going to have triple Arsenal, and then I'm going to have one there. So today I've got Dubravka. So that's the other thing. I think I'm playing Dubravka over Verbruggen. I don't think there's very much in it. I just expect... I think the clean sheet odds are almost identical. I think Verbruggen... I think Dubravka will maybe face more shots. Spurs played midweek. And the other very small thing is I think the penalty taker for Fulham is much better than the one for Spurs. So if there was a Spurs pen, I think there's a higher chance that they miss it. I mean, it's a tiny factor, right? And there's very little between them. But I also have Anderson, so hoping for a 0-0 in that game. And like, if Verbruggen was to keep a clean sheet on my bench and it meant that Harry Wilson blanked, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Just a question in the chat. Imagine a goal from Dorgu again. Would you play Dorgu or would you play Richards? I know, it's the battle of the Andersons. I never thought I'd still be here a few weeks later down the line, but it is what it is. I probably would start Anderson of Fulham over Anderson of Forest if I had to pick one. But would you move Dorgu above Richards? Yeah. That's my... I don't have a route to Chelsea players, really. That's my concern. I don't have a route to buy any Chelsea. I've just got to hope that there is enough rotation across the 4 games. If all of the Chelsea players, like if Enzo misses one game and Chalobah misses one game, then it makes me feel all right. But if they start playing all 4 or 5, if you include Palace, yeah. But we haven't looked great. Like the Chelsea game against Brentford, we weren't great. I don't think we were great against Paphos. Yeah, you played Dorgu. Yeah, Dorgu 100%. Think Dorgu is just more attacking. I mean, it might be right, but I wouldn't be surprised if Richards gets like, I mean, I was about to say, wouldn't be surprised if he gets a 4-pointer, but if he gets a 4-pointer, like maybe Dorgu's just, look, I mean, he has had a 17-pointer and a 15-pointer in the last 5, but I don't expect that again. I do expect Arsenal to score a goal. Probably. Is Foden essential? Absolutely not. To be honest, I wish I'd sold him last night to Bruno, but is what it is. I'll probably do Foden to Bruno next week and Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall. And as a result, it will leave me, like, unfortunately, one of the other reasons I almost did it last night, and now that I've talked to myself about it again, I wish I'd done it. Is what it could have allowed me to do in the defender spot. So let me get the transfer tab up. So I'm then left. I would be left with 4.8 for a defender if I did the moves last night. So now I'm going to be left with 4.7, which is very annoying because 4.8, I could have got Senesi or I could have got Matty Cash. And their long-term fixtures are pretty good. So that's not ideal. I haven't even checked. Maybe Cash might fall at some point and then I could just go and buy Cash. I need a defender in 28 and 31, basically. And Wolves away, West Ham at home is pretty good for them. But outside of that, there's not loads. Like Van der Ven has Fulham away, Forest at home in those 2 weeks. It's all right. Van Heck, I've already got one of them. Senesi is great. Like he's got Sunderland at home, United at home. Maybe he was the play, but yeah, it would be what it would be. Like it's not the end of the world, but yeah, I mean, Dorgu might keep his place. He might keep his place, right? There's a chance that Dorgu keeps his place and then I don't have to worry about it, but chances are I think he will lose his place. I don't know what would be happening with Cash. I have no idea if Cash is being transferred in or out. He's being transferred out, but slowly, and he's very far from a drop, so he probably won't. Yeah, Foden might drop tonight, which is not ideal, but I should have just done it. Oh, well. Here we are. Would I do O'Reilly to Collins if I'm wildcarding next game week? I probably would not use the transfer. I'd probably just take the chance that O'Reilly starts, I think. No Harry Wilson in my team. There's a few midfielders in Harry Wilson and Enzo Fernandez that I'm not going to be able to own, I don't think, unless Saka disappoints. Yeah, I mean, if Saka disappoints, then it gives me money and I can buy a few of those players, right? Like Saka can go to, let me just show you. I could do Saka, Tavernier, Foden as an example to, like I could go Bruno, but then I'm using, this is so many transfers, right? Let's sort by price. Who else? Wilson rose again last night. Enzo. And then have the money for like Dorgu to Timber. Would probably be better, but I don't plan on wildcarding to do it. So I've got to be pretty savvy about what I use my transfers on. If you need a defender at 4-3, and if you don't want to take the risk on Dorgu, which I probably wouldn't, I'd buy Alderete, I imagine. Or you could go Ronaldo at Sunderland, who's 3-8. Or James Hill, but he's not fully nailed at Bournemouth. Wildcard 32 is the plan, yeah. Foden to Semenyo. I think Semenyo should start. I'm not sure I'd be going sideways on that because I still think going forward, when Doku's fit, when they've got Cherki, that there is a lot of doubt about minutes in those wide areas, and Savinho's not that far away as well. Thoughts on doing Foden to Ndai or Enzo, regardless of whether Foden starts. Also, what's my thoughts on Enzo over Ndai or vice versa? Enzo's the better short-term pick. It depends how many transfers you've got. I think I'd probably go Enzo over Ndai, and I wouldn't sell Foden if you know he starts. But again, if we don't get any news and you want to sell Foden because you don't think it's worth the risk, then I've got no issue with that. Yeah, so I mean, if Foden gets benched, the worst case scenario for me is Foden gets benched and we don't know before the deadline, and then I keep him. That's the worst case scenario, and I don't really have the bench to cover it if he doesn't get on the pitch. Would I get double Arsenal defence? Yeah, if I was in wildcard, I would go probably Timber, Gabriel, Rice. It might be Saliba, Gabriel, Rice, just for minutes, but I think I'd go, yeah, I would go double defence on what if I was wildcarding, yeah. Bring in Enzo for Bruno G or Thiago for DCL. I'd rather bring in Enzo for Bruno G. I think that's a bigger upgrade for the next few weeks. What about having Enzo and Ndai? Yeah, no issue with that. If I was in wildcard, there would be a chance I'd go with both of them. It would probably be 2 out of 3 from Enzo, Ndai, and Wilson. So it would be 2 out of 3 of those. Rodgers or Foden to start today? I'd start Foden and hope he plays. If you've kept him, then yeah. Why isn't João Pedro in the striker conversation? Matter of time before Delap gets broken again. Yeah, it might be, but until Delap gets broken, it's really difficult with all the Chelsea fixtures that we've got coming up to try and predict who's going to start every week. So it's not worth it. And even when they do start, they're getting subbed at 65 minutes, which is just not what you want, really. Why Dubravka against Spurs, who are a better attack than Fulham? I'm not actually sure that they are. Let me have a look. Let me check the data on it. Let me get it up. Let me answer a question while I'm getting it up. Would I play Rodgers or Bruno G? So let's talk a little bit about Bruno Guimaraes. I don't think he'll start. If you have him, I would play him because he's either going to start or he's not going to feature at all. I would say is the likely scenario for him. So if you've got him and you want to play him, I've got no issue with that. But yeah, I don't think he'll probably start. So goals total. 31 goals to Fulham's 30. Although, yeah, so basically the same. And XG, Fulham have created more XG. They've got 25 XG this season to Spurs is 22. Plus Spurs at home versus Fulham at home. I think there's not much in it. There's really not much in it. I haven't seen, again, there's going to be so much City news on Twitter which won't be reliable. So if you do see anything and you want to tag me in it, then please do. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, nothing yet. Nothing yet. We got an hour and a half until the deadline, so we'll keep an eye out. Why Anderson over Mukiele in the benching ranking? Just the home fixture. Sunderland are much better at home versus they're going away. I think I do underestimate Mukiele's attacking threat a little bit, but it always just feels so lucky when he gets it. So I'd probably just about go Anderson, but I don't think there's that much between it, to be honest. Should I keep O'Reilly for Wolves or should I get Chalobah? I think I'd keep unless we hear that he doesn't start and then you can go to Chalobah because I don't think Palace away is that great a fixture for us. I think that game will be pretty cagey. Where can I see the data of a team over or underperforming? I use Fantasy Football Scout. There's a link in the description if you want to have a look at it to sign up, which will also get you a discount. And there's a code in the description which will also get you an additional discount. Palmer will start the second half. I mean, he might only play a half. I wouldn't be buying Palmer anytime soon, I don't think. You have Tarkowski, Garner and Dye. Is that good for the long-term planning to do Palmer to Bruno Fernandes and Schade to Enzo? I think Enzo, Bruno Fernandes is a better combination. I do think Schade is not a bad pick this week, so I'm not sure I'd do those transfers this week. Why did I change my mind on Dubravka? So I spoke about it in the complete guide yesterday when I made the change. I think there's virtually nothing to pick between it. Having Verbruggen versus versus Anderson, having no Harry Wilson, having Dubravka at home, there was just a tiny bit of me that favoured that. Why nobody talking about Florian Wirtz? I think he's a very good pick. I think he was in my top... my longer list of top midfielders to buy earlier on in the week. So I like Wirtz. I think he's a decent pick. He's probably the Liverpool attacker that you want at the moment. Krupi, Cherky, Chalobah, Rodon start 2 and the bench order. So rank them. Cherky, Chalobah, Krupi, Rodon probably. Double Man City defense. If you've got it, I'd play it. It's a great fixture at home to Wolves this week. I'm not sure I'd be buying it because buying them this week feels pretty difficult. But yeah, Rodgers, Anderson, Wilson, bench 1. Probably Anderson. Rodgers versus Anderson is pretty close. I think I'd play Rodgers over Anderson though. I don't have any news on the City lineup at the moment. Once we get closer to the deadline, we're going to keep an eye out for it. But right now, I haven't seen anything reliable, right? There are 50 accounts on Twitter already trying to guess it, and that will go on until the deadline because it's pretty big for FPL this week. But yeah, I would just wait on it. We don't have anything at the moment. We haven't got it over the past few weeks either, so we may well not. Opinion on Branthwaite coming back into the Everton squad. Yeah, I don't expect he'll start. Probably the same as Dewsbury Hall. I expect they'll probably be on the bench this evening. On Monday evening, sorry. But it's definitely good for them to have those two back. Although it sounds like Grealish is set to be out for quite a long time. Foden and Chaël, bench 1. Foden, very risky this week. I probably would play Foden over Malik Chaël, though. Why don't I sell Tavernier for Semenyo? Good 1 week punt. So unfortunately, I mean, a couple of things. I don't have the money to do that transfer, right? I've only got 0.8 in the bank, but I also am not in the position to be taking luxury punts at the moment, which is a really annoying place to be in. I've massively wasted my transfers over the past few weeks, but I'm now aware, particularly with the Tavernier injury, which hasn't helped things, right? That I can't be taking luxury punts, and I feel like Semenyo is that. Like, Semenyo will probably start this, and he'll probably start the next one, but once that's out of the way, and they don't have midweek football because they're in the top 8 of the Champions League, who's going to start on the wings when they've got Savinho, Doku, Cherki, Marmoush, Foden, Semenyo, like Reinders? There's so many attackers there. It's just too much of a risk. Would I sell Tav to Enzo or Ndai? I'd go Enzo over Ndai if I had to pick one, yeah. Charlie, Palmer or Mbermo, bench him on wildcard 23. I think I'd go Mbermo. I'm not sure I'd go either, if I'm honest. Neither were in the wildcard draft I built, but if I had to pick one, I'd go Mbermo over Palmer. Would I play Mukiele as my backup or -4 Bruno G to Enzo? I would just play Mukiele. I don't think Enzo's that great this week. My chip strategy at the moment is to wildcard 32 and play the rest of the chips after that. Unless I decide to triple captain Arsenal in 26 if they double. Now, thank you very much for joining as a mid-tier member. Welcome to the channel. Thank you very much for joining. Make sure you go and check the membership tab to see all the perks, get the links to join all of the group chats. All of the information you need are in there. Thank you very much. Dylan, Bruno Guimaraes to Ndai. Yeah, I mean, if you're selling Bruno G, if you're buying Bruno Fernandes, you're buying Enzo Ndai, Harry Wilson. I don't really have an issue with any of those particularly, or Rodgers. What do I think of the risk of captaining Palmer over Haaland? I don't think Palmer's guaranteed to start because we're going to want him for Napoli midweek. And what does that mean? And he then is unlikely to play 90. I would not be captaining Palmer, I don't think. I do have Thiago second in my benching ranking, in my captaincy ranking, if Haaland doesn't start. But Saka and Thiago are also tempting. They are quite tempting. As is Ekitike. Ekitike, Thiago, Saka are all tempting. I mean, if we got news that Haaland benched and Foden started, I could even captain Foden, but I'm not sure that's the sensible thing to do. How about Enzo cap? Away at Palace is a no for me. Sounds like Tavernier is probably out for a month at a minimum, which is just, it's a nightmare, isn't it, right? It's a nightmare, basically. Right. Gordon or Ndai? Ndai. Yeah, Gordon for Ndai, yeah. I would do that probably. I would sell Gordon now, yeah. Gordon to Ndai or Roll or Foden to Ndai. I'd rather do Gordon. I mean, what happens with Foden between now and the deadline might change the answer to that, but I'd rather sell Gordon than Foden. Because I know that, I know people might not agree, right? And he might not be the right City mid, but if Foden stays nailed, right? Let's say he starts Wolves and we just think he's going to keep playing. There is a world where this run of fixtures is not bad for him. There is a world where it's not that bad. Rice or Mbermo on wildcard. Rice would definitely go in. Mode, let me have a look. You have O'Reilly, Haaland, Fono, Bruno G, which are all doubts, and one free transfer. I was surprisingly can do Bruno G to Bruno Fernandes. Yeah, I'd do that, definitely. Yeah. Bruno G to Bruno Fernandes, if you can do it. Yes. Do I start Rodgers or DCL? I'd probably play DCL over Rodgers. Your friend has 5 City players. Can he play all of them? Yes, he just can't use a transfer unless he sells 2 of them. Foden's gone even if he scores a hat-trick. Yeah, That's also quite reasonable given how he's played recently. To be honest, I think if Foden scored a hat-trick tonight, I wouldn't sell him. Today, I wouldn't sell him, right? I think he's more likely to be benched than score a hat-trick, though. Ricky, no worries. Gabriel, a good captain. Based off what we saw from United last weekend, I don't think I'd be captaining Gabriel this week. But if Haaland doesn't start, then you can captain who you want, right? Basically. No one's that great outside of Haaland this week. Does Munoz come straight in? Yeah, apparently Munoz is available to start for Palace. Whether he does or not, I don't know. But it sounds like he can start. Will Bruno G play? I don't expect him to. My prediction is he doesn't. I don't know, but the quotes weren't great on him. What do I think? Will Erling play today? There's a rumour going around that he might not. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing of predicting a City lineup is very difficult at the moment. We might hear some leaks before the deadline. There are a couple of useful accounts on Twitter that we're going to keep an eye on, but hope there isn't a leak. It spoils FPL and a bit unfair advantage to those who can be glued to FPL before the deadline. I completely understand that, but unfortunately, if there's no leak publicly, there will be a leak somewhere. And then it's just an even smaller group of people getting the benefit of it. Now, I'm not saying that's in the FPL community, but there are a group of people with City leaks at the moment. So it just depends how wide you want that leak to go. And that's the thing. And that's the same thing about when they moved the deadline. That yes, the leaks became less because they didn't have that 15-minute before window where everyone was getting them. It just narrowed the pool that you need to be better at looking in order to find them. And it's just the same now, that if there's no public City league, then there will be one somewhere, unfortunately. We just hope that it comes out enough that we see it. Good Minter replacement. You only have 0.1 in the bank and you already have Wilson. It's coming down to probably Dewsbury Hall or Anderson or James Garner, so I probably wouldn't do that now. To be honest, if you can't go up to anyone. First choice pick to replace Tavernier. I would go Wilson if I had the money for it. I would go Wilson. I mean, my team looks fine this week until half my players don't start. And then I've got an issue. Yeah, Foden not starting now would be a bit of a nightmare for me. No, to be honest, yeah, I think the conclusion is if Foden doesn't start and we don't hear about it, that is the nightmare. If we hear about it and I have to take the hit, it's not the end of the world because I'm going to have to do those transfers at some point. And it would allow me to start rolling a couple, I think. I said that recently and then look where I am now. Anish, would I start one from Rodgers and Ronaldo and Krupi? I'd start Rodgers out of them. Would I start Wilson or Rodgers? Definitely Wilson. Yeah, there is a benching ranking up in the top right hand corner. Now, the way it works is number 1 is the best, number 17 is the worst, and they're ranked. You're tempted to do 3 sideways moves. Cunha to Bruno, Saka to Rise, and Foden to Semenyo. Saka to Rise is not sideways because you're freeing up a lot of money. Cunha to Bruno is also not sideways because Bruno's a much better pick. Foden to Semenyo feels a little bit. The other two I've got no issue with. With the Doku quotes from Friday evening that apparently Doku just couldn't play on Tuesday in Bodo, it makes me more inclined to think that Doku won't start against Wolves, which then makes Cherki more likely to play. It feels like one of Doku or Cherki will play. And that's the sort of prediction. I mean, yeah, let's wait and see. Tarkowski or O'Reilly. I'd probably just play Tarkowski and not take the risk on O'Reilly between them because Tarkowski's a pretty good pick. Rodgers or Watkins, bench one. I'd probably play Watkins. With the signing of Tammy Abraham to Villa, you're probably going to look to sell Watkins pretty soon anyway, but I'd play him, yeah. Wildcard 24 versus 32. It really depends on how much you think you need to do in 24. I just don't think the players that I don't have are so incredibly essential. So I'd rather wait. And I honestly think I'm a -4 away from a team that I'd be pretty happy with. Like, if this week, if Foden doesn't start and I do Foden to Bruno and Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall, I just think my front eight is then fine. It would be fine if Tavernier was instead of Dewsbury Hall, but Tavernier is now injured, which isn't ideal. But then defensively, it rotates pretty well. If Dorgu doesn't keep his place, then I have to sell him. But apart from that, so I don't love the early wildcard. We will do a video, next week we'll look at wildcard. There is slightly exciting news. I have an additional video coming for you all from next week, as many weeks as I have the ability to do it. The plan is to do an additional video on Tuesday where I start splitting out the transfer targets into 2 videos a little bit. There'll be more in it than just splitting it in half. But transfer targets will be very focused. It will be the players, the players to discuss, like the one where I discuss loads of players and then best to buy across positions. And then the Tuesday video will look at fixtures, it will look at data, it will answer some key questions, and then it will have a free hit and a wildcard draft in it. So I'm planning on doing it like that, because the transfer targets is just getting too long and I don't have long enough to discuss certain things. And I want a video where I can answer a few more questions, like specific topics, rather than just having it involved in other videos. So that's the plan from next week. So Tuesday, so Sunday evening will be transfer plans. Tuesday will be that video. Then Wednesday transfer targets. Team selection Thursday. Complete guide Friday. Stream Saturday. So Monday will be the only day where there's no video, and it's the day where you can get the newsletter if you want to, so you can have content from me every single day of the week going forward if you'd like. Enzo or Wilson, who to buy? I probably would buy Enzo over Wilson, yeah. Start Dorgu or Richard. It's really close. I don't expect Dorgu to hit a 15-pointer again, but do I think Richards is going to get much? Also not, so do I just take the upside on Dorgu potentially? I don't think Dewsbury Hall starts, no. I don't. If I don't own Anderson, would I start Dubravka or Verbruggen? I think I'd still start Dubravka. I think I've just made my bed that I'm going to play him at home. Should I sell Raya and Anderson for Sanchez and Gabriel, or wait for next week? So I sell Raya and Anderson for Sanchez. I'd wait for next week. Because Anderson, definitely would wait. A couple of you have tagged me in that FPL Citizens account. I have no reason to believe that they are doing anything but making it up, to be honest. Bruno Fernandes or Lewis Hall? Bruno Fernandes or Lewis Hall? Bruno Fernandes, yeah. If you've got Bruno, you definitely start him. Would I use a transfer on O'Reilly? No bench cover. You can do O'Reilly to Chalobah or Tavernier to Ndiaye or Rodgers. I'd probably just play O'Reilly unless we hear that he doesn't start. Yeah. Sell Foden to Bruno this week, free transfer. I mean, I'd wait until the deadline. If we don't hear anything and you don't want to take the risk, then yeah, you can just do it. Yeah. So just to go back to where we were at the beginning, this is sort of the thought process for me, depending on what happens between now and the deadline. If we don't get any news, I'm just going to roll, I think. And I'll play Foden, I'll play Haaland, and I'll hope they start. And I hope if they both get benched, then we're in the mud, right? If Foden's benched, I will do Foden to Bruno and I'll sell Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall. And if Foden starts Haaland benched, I'll roll and just bench Haaland. And if they're both benched, then I do the other transfers and I bench Haaland. Christmas pudding, though, for someone asking in the chat, is absolutely disgusting. It's not nice. Don't know why anyone likes it. Can I rank Semenyo versus Foden from 24? Vert, Semenyo, Foden, probably. Start Anderson or O'Reilly. Probably O'Reilly. Probably O'Reilly. We need 2023 FPL Tony. We do. We do. Why Dubravka over Verbruggen? Just a few things. I think it's a really close call. The home fixture. Brighton have a very good record against Fulham. I've also got Anderson. Spurs played midweek. There's very little in it, though. Would I do Foden or Bruno G to Bruno Fernandes? I'd sell Bruno G because I think there is a small world where Foden stays. Where Foden stays. Nottingham Forest Anderson or Fulham Anderson. I'd play Fulham Anderson. Yeah, Dubravka's at home, Verbruggen's away, so that's why I'm going with Dubravka. There's not much in it. Do I think Cherki will start? He is in my predicted lineup. There is a City predicted lineup going around in the top right-hand corner. If anything changes, I will change that, but that's my current thinking. It'll be up there in about 30 seconds. So if you want to see my prediction on City's lineup, it's in the top left. It is just a prediction. It's all it is. And I'm not saying I'm any expert in predicting Pep because I'm probably the opposite. But yeah, if you want to check it out in a minute, it will be up in the top left-hand corner. Thank you all for watching as well, by the way. There's almost 5,000 of you in and 4,000 of you haven't liked the stream. If you could drop a like, that would be really very kind of you. Haaland. Will Haaland play? I mean, there's so much in the chat already about Haaland and Foden. So Mark Gay is expected to play. Yes. So we are expecting him. If you've still got him from when he was at Palace, yes, we are expecting him to play. Captain Haaland or Semenyo? There feels like a crazy world where Semenyo is a safer captain this week than Haaland. I think I'd still captain Haaland, though. I feel like I couldn't take it off him. Owning Semenyo now is still a pretty strong place to be in, right? I wish I'd done the transfer. I really do wish. I mean, it's always... the grass is always going to be greener, right? The grass is always going to be greener on the move you did or didn't do on the other way around. Should I make transfers? This is your team. Pickford, Tarkowski, Bruno Guimaraes. Again, I'm not certain he's going to start. So if you have the ability to sell Bruno Guimaraes, I probably would. What to do with Cunha? 1.6 in the bank. And if you can do Cunha to Bruno Fernandes, I'd do it. Yeah. Bench 1. Wilson, Enzo, or Bruno G. I'd probably bench Enzo, but you'll probably get him for Bruno G. Yeah. Bruno G is a difficult one. He's the type of player that he's either going to start or he's not going to be in the squad. So if you've got him and you want to keep him, then I would just start him and hope he plays because it's a home fixture and we know what he's like at home. Yeah. Anyone think it's crazy to captain Palmer over Haaland and Ekitike? Over Ekitike, I don't think it's crazy. Over Haaland, I do, yeah. Why did I suggest whom to start between Alderete or Cash for the third defender? I'd probably play Alderete just based off it being a better fixture for him. Although I expect West Ham to score, I think it is just a higher chance for Sunderland and their defence is better. Although they're not as good as away from home as they are at home. Is Thiago essential? No, he's definitely not essential. Start Anderson or Walter-Mada. I'd probably play Anderson over Walter-Mada. Would I? I mean, trying to predict the Newcastle lineup is almost impossible. So I might just not say I'm not worth the risk and just play Anderson. Although you're probably only losing 2 points, where if Walter-Mada starts, you're probably losing more. So maybe you play Walter-Mada over Anderson. Because the worst case scenario there is you're probably going to lose 2. Would I do Foden to Fernandes if I had the money? Yeah, I had the money last night and I didn't do it and I wish I did it. So yes. Basically, everything last week just went wrong because if Bruno hadn't hauled and Foden blanked, I probably wouldn't have been priced out of it by now. You have Tavernier, Diaz, and Bruno G. Would I wildcard? I mean, not necessarily. If you can bench them and deal with them, then and deal with them later down the line, no. So I wouldn't force yourself to wildcard just because you've got those three. Would I get rid of O'Reilly, Bowen, or Waltemada with one transfer? To be honest, I'd probably sell Waltemada. There's a Newcastle fan in the chat who actually says he expects Waltemada to start. So you could just roll with O'Reilly, Bowen, Waltemada and deal with them next week. If you're assuming there's no leaks, who would I bench? Bruno Fernandes, Foden, or Cherky? Wow. What a question. No leaks. I'd own Bruno Fernandes, Cherky, and I think you have to bench Bruno. You can't bench a City player if they start at home to Wolves, can you? But then is it worth the risk? I think I'd... To be honest, I think I'd take a gamble and pick a City player who you don't think is going to start, and I'd bench him. And I'd play Bruno. At least you know what you're going to get from Bruno. I would just take a gamble on City's minutes and pick one of them and bench one of them, I think. Bruno Guimaraes to Wilson or Schade. I'd go Wilson. Sometimes the... those of you sharing stuff in the chat, there's been no tweets by any of the reliable City accounts. If you do see it and you want to tag me in it, then great, but there's been nothing reliable. There's been nothing reliable as of yet. Anything anywhere? No. I wish I'd done the transfer and I didn't have to deal with this morning. Watch Foden get benched, us not here, and then Bruno score. To be honest, the only benefit is if Bruno does get a return, at least it means Arsenal haven't kept a clean sheet. And I've only got one Arsenal, so it's not like the worst case scenario. Because Bruno will probably be lower owned than the Arsenal double defence. Or it'll be quite similar. So it's not the end of the world. Would I do Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall or Ndiaye? If you need to play them this week, you have to buy Ndiaye because I don't think Dewsbury Hall is going to start. I think he'll be on the bench. Lewis Hall or Anderson? Probably Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall over Anderson. Best non-Bruno Foden replacement if he's not starting. Leaning towards Enzo or Wirtz. I probably would go Enzo. I like Wirtz, think he's a good pick, but I don't think he's definitely worth the money that you might want to spend it elsewhere. I think in a lot of situations, if you're uncertain on two players, just buy the cheaper one. Often is a pretty good mantra that if there's two players who you think are pretty similar in terms of points, then just save the money and buy the cheaper one. Is Ekitike a good captain? There's people saying there's a small chance he doesn't start, but I think he's a good pick. I quite am happy to have him. I don't know if I've got it in me to captain him though. Do I captain Thiago as well? Pretty certain Saka will start against United. Could I cap Saka? What did he do against United earlier on in the season? He got 3-pointer. Just didn't do anything. I mean, it's a new manager, right? It's a long time ago. Rodgers or Krupi Jr.? I'd play Rodgers. Bench one, Foden, Cherky, Raul Jimenez, Enzo or Rodgers. I'd probably bench Enzo away at Palace, I think. Lots of people in the chat saying that they're seeing City leagues, but no one's tagged me in it. So I don't know if they're not on Twitter or they're somewhere else. If you want to tag me in it, then yeah, then I can have a look. But yeah, interesting. O'Reilly, Richards. I play O'Reilly over Richards. Is buying Thiago just to bench Harry Wilson worth it? No, I think Harry Wilson's probably better than Thiago this week. Sunderland keeper, Arsenal keeper, I'd play Raya. If you own Raya, I'd play him pretty much every week. The only week I'd potentially bench him if he was away at City or something. But if you've got Raya, I'd play him pretty much regardless. Pick one this week only, Rice or Ekitike. Probably Rice. This week only, maybe Ekitike, but probably like... I don't know what situation you're in to have that. If you're wildcarding next week and you can only buy one, I'd probably buy Ekitike. Is Ekitike for the long term? Again, he feels a little bit like Foden, that I don't know the answer to that. That I do think that City's... like we're still expecting to have Isak out for a long time, right? So this run of games... is pretty good for him all the way up until this. Like, the next few are not ideal, but I still think long term the fixtures are not bad for Liverpool, and he feels like their main goal threat still. So let's see how he gets on tonight, and then I will decide. Buy Enzo Lafie or Anderson? I probably would buy Enzo Lafie. Is Semenyo a long-term hold, or will he be unreliable to pick as Foden? I think Semenyo will be unreliable, because in a couple of weeks, right, they'll have Doku, Savinho, Semenyo, Cherky, Foden, Marmoush, Reinders, Bernardo Silva, Haaland for 5 attacking spots every week. And even when Semenyo starts, he will get hooked. Winger subs are just so common. People saying that Oscar... if any of my mods are in and could just go and check if Oscar has said something about the Liverpool lineup, that would be very helpful. Reinders, play double Arsenal defence. Bench Reinders, play double Arsenal defence. Yes, I probably would, because Reinders is not in any predicted lineup. Reinders is not in any of them. Thoughts on Gibbs White? Definitely not worth the money. And if he loses penalties, he's even worse. FPL Verts, I'll message you. I'll WhatsApp you. Yeah, I saw the FPL MCFC that you'll gain an advantage if people don't leak today. Does it imply the big ones are benched? I did see that, and I did think the same. But I also wonder if that's a bluff. I also did wonder if that was a bit of a bluff. I watched too much of the Traitors over the past week that I wondered if it was a bit of a bluff, that maybe they all start and he wants people to think that they don't and they still need a leak to know that. I did wonder if it was a bit of a bluff. Bench, Malik Chow, Van Heck, Anderson, Cash. Probably Cash. I don't love the fixture for him this week. I fully expect Newcastle to score. Would I do Ekitike to Thiago to fund Cunha to Bruno? If there's no other way to fund it, then yeah, but I don't mind Ekitike. Who's my favourite ever German FPL asset? I'm trying to think who I've owned over the years that would have been German. I'm not great at nationalities of players in FPL, if I'm honest. If you give me some suggestions, I'll probably know them, and then I can pick. Raul Jimenez or Gakpo? Raul Jimenez. It sounds like there's rumours of an unchanged Liverpool lineup from midweek, which would be Gakpo benched. Someone said that Gakpo was Pascal Gross. I didn't really own him that much though. Probably Gundogan. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Gundogan when he had that purple patch at City. Yeah, Gundo. Anthony Rudiger, yeah. I mean, as a Chelsea fan, player close to my heart. We could do with him back. Why no love for Ekitike? Because I think there was a bit of a doubt about whether he was going to start. And the thing is, even if he does start, he might be taken off early. That's what happened midweek, right? Gakpo came on for Ekitike, which, again, I don't particularly love. Leroy Sané was also a good one. Yeah, Leroy Sané. Yeah, so vice captain's difficult. Who I captain if Haaland doesn't start is quite tough. Pascal Gross. Anyway, with 5 free transfers, how many of Gordon, Foden, O'Reilly should you sell? I would definitely sell Gordon. And then Foden, O'Reilly depends how much of a risk you want to take. Reckon we'll get a City leak? Probably not, but we can all hope. There's literally so many people in the chat all saying different things about the City lineup. So please be careful with what you believe. If you want to believe one of these people who are not particularly reliable, then that is fine, because one of them's probably going to be right. One of them will likely be right, but we don't know who it will be. Foden to Bruno if you have the money. Only if we hear that Foden's bench, probably. Or if you don't want to take the risk, then you can just do it. If you don't want to take the risk. Oh, sorry. Start Timber or Malik Chow. If you've got a double Arsenal, I just play Timber. Enzo, Rogers, Wilson, bench one. Probably Rogers. Probably Rogers. Malik Chow or Lacroix. Probably Malik Chow. Yeah. It's all speculation. I know. That's the thing. It's all just guesswork. It's all just guesswork at the moment. I really wish I'd just gone last night and not have to deal with this morning, to be honest. But is there a risk to start Bruno G? I fully expect Bruno G will start or not be in the squad. I might be wrong, but that would be my expectation. Captaincy is really hard if Haaland doesn't play. I mean, yeah. Right, let's do some questions. Oh, we are also an hour less left until the deadline. So we're going to put it in subscriber only mode. 1,000 of you basically have liked, or actually we're 16 short. So thank you all very much. We'll put it in subscriber only mode. You literally have to have subscribed for 1 second to start using the chat again. Who would I vice? Ekitike or Saka? Probably Saka. Probably Saka. Chow or Calvert-Lewin to start? I'd play Calvert-Lewin if you've got him, I think. Would I start Krupi or Mbermo? I'd still probably play Mbermo over Krupi. Hanny, I think. I'd play Mbermo over Krupi. Why not Ekitike? I'm a little bit reluctant to trust Liverpool. But I don't trust Saka particularly either. You did Szoboszlai to Bruno. Would I buy if Foden's benched? Rogers, Enzo, Harry Wilson, probably, if you've already got Bruno. I appreciate all my mods, by the way. All the mods in and all my members. Thank you. My mods are literally running around Twitter trying to find if there's anything reliable on City for me. I appreciate you all. They're saying there's nothing yet, unfortunately. Right, let's leave it for a bit and then we'll come back to City closer to the deadline. And let's do a few questions. Would I bench one of the following, please? Malik, Chaël, Timber, Bruno Fernandes, or Cherky? You have Gabriel. Probably Chaël. I think I'd play Bruno, I'd play Cherky, and I'd play Timber. If you don't want to play double Arsenal against Bruno, then I understand benching Timber, but I'd probably bench Malik, Chaël. Whom to buy to replace Xhaka? If you need a cheap mid, it's probably going to be... Dewsbury Hall. Like, the fixtures for them from next week are not perfect. Like, Brighton away, Fulham away, Bournemouth at home, United at home, Newcastle away, Burnley at home. Like, they're okay, but as an 8th attacker, he's probably the one that I would look at. Is probably the one I'd look at. I think Dewsbury Hall, his data is very similar to Rodgers. Rodgers' fixtures are better, but he's like 2.5 mil cheaper, right? And he does have the ability to haul. Like, we've seen it a couple of times where he's got like a goal or an assist together, which is always nice. Would I start one of Cunha or Dalot or Richards? Cunha, Dalot or Richards? I'd probably play Cunha and hope that you get something from him. Probably. I'd probably look to make a transfer and sell Cunha, if I'm honest. O'Reilly to Chalobah and Foden to Bruno after the deadline today for a hit, given price drops on both tonight on O'Reilly and Foden. Issue is Bruno plays tomorrow, but if Chalobah comes through okay and O'Reilly and Foden look bad, then yes, you can. Kieran Dewsbury Hall, exactly. He has it in him. Would I play Dubravka over Raya if you own Bruno? No, I'd still play Raya, I think. Start Alderete or Bruno Guimaraes. I'd play Bruno Guimaraes and have Alderete on the bench. Because if Bruno Guimaraes doesn't play, it then makes... Oh, no, actually, that doesn't make any sense. I thought that was cash. I thought they were playing against each other. Ignore me. But yes, I'll have Calvin. I'd play Bruno G over Alderete. SJH, let me have a look. 1 for Bruno... Rodgers, Foden, Saka, Vert, or Roll. If I was selling one of them to buy Bruno, you really want Bruno this week, I would sell Foden. But yeah, I probably would Roll unless we hear anything. No leaks yet. No leaks. Less than an hour to go to the deadline, so... Yeah, I mean, I'll keep the tab open, refreshing any notifications and stuff, but... Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Yeah, lots of rubbish. Lots of rubbish. If O'Reilly doesn't start, do I transfer him to Chalobah or play Richards off your bench? If you know you want Chalobah next week, I would just get it done. News on Saka? No, but I think Saka will start. I understand that there's a little bit of doubt and uncertainty on him based off recent weeks, but yeah, I think I'd still expect him to play the next few. Why get rid of Foden now when the whole reason we kept him was to sell him afterwards? Yeah, I won't be selling him unless we see and hear that he's not starting. Yeah. Bruno Guimaraes, I don't think he'll play, so you can sell him. Enzo Lafia is a good pick. Yeah, he's a cheap option. Him and Dewsbury Hall. The Dewsbury Hall fixtures are probably slightly better long-term than you're going to get from Lafia. And there is a slight doubt that Lafia might lose pens after he missed it. So there's that. But I like Enzo Lafia. Foden to Rice for free. I probably wouldn't do it this week unless, again, with Foden, unless we hear that he doesn't start, I probably just have to start him. Is it possible Haaland's limited minutes not affecting your captaincy choice? So the thing with captaincy is if I had a decent alternative, I think I'd be more inclined to move it. But I really don't think I have that in my team. I just don't think it's there. I just don't think I have a alternative captain. Pickford, Dubravka, Gabriel, Van Dijk, Anderson, O'Reilly, Foden, Saka, Garner, Wilson, Haaland, Bowen, Rodgers, Truffer, 2 transfers. Would I sell Bowen to Thiago? I probably would just keep Bowen. I'm not sure I'd sell him to Thiago. So no, I probably wouldn't. And I'd probably just roll unless you want to sell O'Reilly. The alternative captain, I mean, my vice is on Ekitike at the moment, but I wonder about Saka. Yeah, my vice is Ekitike. Where is the minutes doubt from Haaland come from? The fact that he's just said he's tired and it's Wolves at home, basically. Was last week my worst benching week ever? Probably, yeah. So many uncertainties with players at the moment, which is why I also don't particularly love the wild card, because I still think there's players on wildcard that I'm picking that I'm uncertain of. Not because of their minutes, right? The players I own on wildcard are good for minutes, but in terms of output, I'm still a little bit uncertain of them. Yeah. Would I put my vice on Bruno if I had him? Probably not away at Arsenal. I'd rather take a chance on like Ekitike. Did he play against Bournemouth on the opening day? He did. He scored a goal and an assist against them. He has been pretty good, right? 0.6 XGI per 90 is pretty good. But maybe Saka's just safest. I know they haven't scored from open play in the past 2 games, but just wonder if Saka feels safer. If I hadn't mentioned already, I really wish I sold Bruno to Foden last night. Kevin Schade, I think, is a fine short-term pick, but I don't think you'll want him long-term. I think the fixtures over the next few are too difficult, especially if you've also got Thiago. I'm not sure you want the double up. Mark Gay is expected to start. Would I triple captain Haaland? No. When he's a minute's down? No. Is Keane to Tarkowski 2 sideways? No, because Keane's going to come out of the team and Branthwaite is back. No Man City leaks yet. No, nothing yet. Nothing yet, no. I will let you know. I will let you know if I hear anything. Again, I'm just looking on Twitter. You have both Foden and Cherky. I think they're both in my predicted lineup. So unless you've got someone really good to bench one of them for, I'd probably just play them. Semenyo cap, to be honest, I've got no issue with the Semenyo cap. He also almost feels slightly safer. Almost feels slightly safer. You're overtaking me this week. If I get 11 players out this week, I'll be happy about it. I would love Foden to start, but I just don't expect it. I just don't expect it. Feels like there is an absolute chaos storm coming in the next 45 minutes. I don't know if anyone else gets the same feeling. We've been here before. The early game is West Ham Sunderland, right? So if you need to spend some time with your friends and your family this weekend, go out during the early kickoff and come back later. I apologise to West Ham and Sunderland fans for that comment. And actually, the 3 o'clocks are probably when it's best to go out. Start Alderete or O'Reilly. I'd probably play O'Reilly. Is Tarkowski worth it? What about Pickford too? Again, my thing with Everton, right, is I still don't love the upcoming fixtures for them, but they do have a good goalkeeper, and that's how they keep clean sheets in games that they shouldn't. And someone correctly pointed out to me that just because a team has the same data, a goalkeeper is so important for clean sheets, which is why a team like Sunderland and Everton are massively overperforming their defensive data, whereas you've got teams like Wolves who potentially are massively underperforming it because of the quality that their goalkeeper has. Where to go from Tavernier? You have Enzo, Saka, Wilson, Foden. Rodgers, I don't mind that. Or Guiu to someone. I don't mind Tavernier. You could even go Dewsbury Hall. So you've already got Wilson, Enzo, Saka, Foden. You can't go to Bruno, right? You're just short of Bruno. You're very short. Then I would probably leave it and try and find money for Bruno next week. That's probably what you're going to want to do with Enzo, Saka, Wilson, Foden. I'd probably leave it and do, or do something like Tavernier to Ndiaye and leave money for Foden to Bruno next week. Solanke playing tonight? Probably, given that he's back. Although they do have a pretty important Champions League game next midweek, so you never know with his injury record. Which would I start? Chalobah and Gabriel. Gabriel, right? Members in the chat will know there is a very big rule for me with Gabriel. When he's fit and available, you own him and you start him and you don't even think about it. And we are at that stage again. So if there's anyone in the chat who's even thinking about benching Gabriel, even if it was for Erling Haaland, okay, maybe not the best example this week, but Gabriel, own and start every single week, right? DCL versus Rodgers to start. I'd probably play Calvert-Lewin. If I wasn't priced out, would I transfer Foden to Bruno? Probably, if I'm honest. I can do it for a hit, but that doesn't feel great. But if Foden, listen, that's where we're at. If we get news that Foden doesn't start, I'll sell him for a hit, and I'll buy Bruno. It's not ideal. It's far from ideal. But yeah, that's where we're at. Transfer O'Reilly or roll. Probably roll unless we hear anything. Yeah, I've spoken to Ross about him. I've spoken to Ross about him playing Verbruggen. We think it's a really close call. There's not much. There'll probably be like a point in it either way. Palmer news, nothing. We expect him to be at least in the squad. I don't think he'll play 90. His expected minutes is probably about 60. Saka and Foden and O'Reilly to Bruno, Rodgers and Gabriel. Saka, Foden, O'Reilly to Bruno, Rodgers and Gabriel. I wouldn't sell Saka. I wouldn't do that this week, no. I'd probably wait and do it for free next week, especially for a hit. Should Timber to Gabriel be a priority? If it's your only way to get to if it's your only way to get to Gabriel, then yes. It's what I did, and it was the only way I could get to him, and I haven't really looked back. Now, I should never have bought Saka back, and that would have changed things a little bit. But here we are. Tav to Rice. Yeah, Rice is great. If you can't go Bruno, Rice is also a very good pick. I suppose when we're talking about replacements for Bruno G, Rice is also in the conversation, but most of us have triple Arsenal. So while I was in Australia, for any Pokemon fans, they were selling these on just in some market. They're just like 3D printed, but they were really cheap, and I had coins, so I didn't want to carry around change when I was coming home. Super cool. Yeah. They cost £1 each. I thought that was a good deal. Just to sit on my desk. Yep, the first one was a Lapras. Van Dijk to Chalobah, you've got 5 free transfers. Yeah, I don't mind selling Van Dijk. Don't mind selling Van Dijk. I used to play a lot of Pokemon Go. You want me to start a little $2 Aussie coin? I know, why are the $2 coins so small and the 50-cent coins really big? My favourite Pokemon. Oh, that's quite tough. I quite like a Snorlax. I do also like a Lapras. That's why I got it. They didn't have a Snorlax. Or he didn't look very good. Anyway. Captain Ekatike. I think he's up there as a contender. If Haaland is confirmed to be benched before the deadline, it will be Saka or Ekatike for me, I think. One will get the captain, one will get the vice. If you're chasing 100 points in your mini league, would I do differential for captain every week? No. But something like this and guessing if Haaland doesn't start could be a week to do it. The issue is the lack of alternatives. Would I start Tarkowski or Chaël? I'd probably start Tarkowski. Do I think Ndai starts? Yeah, almost certainly. Almost certainly. Ndai's a good pick. I put A in front of every Pokemon like I do players. A Lapras, perhaps. A Bruno. Sorry, I realise I do it, and I am doing my best to try and stop these things. The more people comment and tell me off for doing things like that, the more I fix them. Because there was a couple of things earlier on in the season which I did, and I feel like I've tried to stop doing them, unless I've just forgotten about it, and now I start doing them again. Best 2 Arsenal defenders by Saliba or Timber. I think I'd go Timber. There is the risk that he doesn't start with all their fullbacks back every week. He'll play this week, but every week will he play? But I think I would just do it. Droip, sorry, 2 free transfers. What would I do with this team? Want Bruno next week. You've got no money for it, so you're likely to do Cunha to Bruno and Foden down. So you could do a Cunha downgrade, leaving money for Foden up to Bruno next week. Yeah, that's probably what I would do. You have Foden, Cunha, Ekatike, and 3 free transfers with nothing in the bank. Then I probably would just, again, sell Cunha to someone cheaper that leaves you money for Foden to Bruno next week. I unfortunately got locked out of my Pokemon Go account, and I don't think I can get back in. I've been logged out for a few years, though. I haven't played it in a while. My 9-year-old son is on free hit this week. Who would I advise going him? Ekatike or Sharda? I'd probably go Ekatike over Sharda. Does Gay start? Yes, we're expecting him to. He basically said yesterday that he's going to make his debut. Should I buy Enzo Lafite to replace Tavernier? He's a good option for the next 2 if you need him, but long term, I think I prefer Dewsbury Hall. Giandre, any Bruno G news? No, nothing on Bruno G. Nothing. I don't think he'll play. I don't think he'll play. Personally, yeah. I enjoyed Australia a lot. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of those of you who have stuck with it while I was away, and yeah, have followed me on my new account as well. Hope you enjoyed the pictures. I don't know what I'm going to post on there now I'm home. It's a little bit less exciting. Right. Come back soon. I probably won't be back there for a while. How many points am I on? I'm on 1,308, I think. Foden to Enzo, and then next week Bruno in for Rodgers. I'm just not certain you want to sell Rodgers next week, so I'm not sure I would do that. Like, I wouldn't sell Foden this week to Enzo unless you know he doesn't start. Own Foden and Cherky. Would I keep both or sell? Own Foden and Cherky. Would I keep both or sell? I'd probably keep both again, unless we hear that they don't start. That's my recommendation with all your City players. Pretty much all the highly owned ones I would keep and start unless we hear that they aren't playing. Is probably what I would do. If I can roll, you can play 5 City with Gay, then I probably would do that this week and deal with it next week. You've got Saka, Foden, Semenyo, Anderson, and Tavernier in midfield with 3.7 in the bank. What would I do? Can you just do Tavernier to Bruno? Oh, you might be 0.1 short of that now. In which case, Tavernier to like Dewsbury Hall and do Foden to Bruno next week or something like that. Keaton, let me take a look at your super chat. You have Cherky and Foden both. Who should I sell and who to get out of Bruno, Rice, Enzo? If you can do Cherky to Bruno, then I probably would. But because Cherky feels like he's got the biggest risk. Wait until the deadline, though, because we might get something on one of those City players. I'm not against you just playing both of them, to be honest, and just hoping for it. Everyone in the chat seems to say that Foden's not going to start, but I don't see it anywhere. There's that stats City lineup who I've never seen before. Yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear. Right, back to it. I love traveling. I do. Like, and I will do my best. I will always make sure that my content gets made wherever I am. Like, I will happily travel and I love to travel, but I absolutely have to make sure I'm doing my videos and streams and stuff. So, yeah, like it won't be the last time this season that I'm streaming from somewhere that's not my desk, but it will always be done. Would I do Ekatike, Tavernier to Enzo Thiago? You have 3 frees. Probably not. Probably not this week. No, I'd be more inclined to wait. I just don't love Enzo this week. Basically, if you know you want to sell Ekatike, then you can. But yeah, I don't think I'd do that. Wilson captain, probably not. I think that will be quite a low scoring game. Haaland minutes secure, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We just don't know. The City prediction is as much as that as at the moment. Tavernier to Semenyo. Tavernier is going to be out for ages. I don't mind Semenyo for the short term, but I do think he might become an issue long term. So it will depend a little bit on how many transfers you've got. The issue is selling Foden has to be for a hit now for me. But all the predicted lineups don't have him in now. But none of them are reliable. Like, none of them I've seen before. So that's... I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I so wish I'd done it last night. I so wish I'd done it last night. Rice is pretty nailed, yeah. I like Rice. I like Rice, yeah. I think he's a good pick. And his minutes are pretty good. Go for Somerville. I don't think I will be doing that. I don't know how much he is. Is he cheap? He'd have to be really cheap. Is he even nailed? I thought he was going to... Oh, he's too expensive anyway. If he was 5'4", I could afford him. Oh, his minutes are pretty good, though. 20... His fixtures are pretty rough. Start Anderson or Krupi. I'd play Anderson over Krupi. Enzo or Neto, I'd go Enzo. Foden hasn't started the last 3 games versus Wolves. Now, there is a stat for you. Buy Tarkowski or Chalobah. I'd probably go Chalobah now. You have the money for Foden to Bruno, but it doesn't feel right to have 4 players in the Arsenal game. No, but if you think Foden's not nailed, then having 4 in that game is not the end of the world. I like Bruno. Sorry, I feel like my brain is all over the place. We're now less than half an hour towards the deadline, and we don't really know anything. If Foden doesn't start, Foden to Palmer, already have Bruno, Rice and Rodgers, I'd invest the money elsewhere. I don't think I'd be buying Palmer. Wouldn't be my recommendation anyway. How about Ndiaye this week instead of Bruno for Foden? You can, as long as you have a really easy route to buy Bruno next week. I just don't think you want to go to Iliman Ndiaye and then have an issue next week of buying Bruno. You may as well just buy Bruno this week. Munoz or Alderete. If you've got Munoz, probably Munoz. Sounds like he's going to start. Start Dubravka or Raya. I'd play Raya. If you've got Raya, unless you've got Raya Donnarumma, which would be an awful lot to spend on goalkeepers, I would start Raya. I think he's second in my goalkeeper to start ranking, which is up in the top right for you now. What to do with Mateus Nunes? There's not been much news on him. It doesn't sound like he's going to recover in time. A lot of the predictions think he's still unavailable. Foden to Wirtz. Yeah, Wirtz is an interesting alternative. I still don't think he's worth the price, though. He has been very good recently, and actually been very good for a while. Like, he had a very good December. So I'm not against it. I'm just not sure you'll want the money in that at some point. I secretly love deadline dilemmas. I would if I was going to get the news and I could afford the transfer I wanted to, then I would be fine. I don't know if I'm going to know anything on Foden, and I can't afford Bruno. So, and I can't just do Foden to Dewsbury Hall because I don't know Dewsbury Hall's going to start. So, Isaiah, of course, let me take a look. Your back line is Nunes, Senesi, Gabriel, Dorgu, Heaven, Saka and Foden. You want double arse defense, but need to move Saka. You have triple 3 free transfers. Think about Heaven out or Alderete or Gayu for Nunes. You could just do Saka to Bruno and one of the mids to and Heaven to Timber or Gabriel if you don't have it. Is probably what I would do. If you want double arse defense but you need to move Saka, I don't mind that. Saka to Bruno would probably be the move. Yeah, Aronson of Leeds has looked pretty good as well. He's one to keep an eye on as well. He could be an alternative to Dewsbury Hall. Aronson's look pretty good. His minutes look pretty great as well. Like 90, 90, 86, 70, 90, 75. Like, it's been good recently. Fixtures in the weeks I need in 26, 28 and 31 are not great. Chelsea away, City at home, 31, Brentford. That's the only thing. The thing with Dewsbury Hall is the weeks that I need are 26, 28, 26 Bournemouth at home, 28 Newcastle away, 31 Chelsea at home. Like, it's not great, but it's just who else? Do I need a 28? 28 is my defender, isn't it? It's 26, 31 that I really need. 28 is pretty good for him. 27, he has Liverpool at home, but that's not even 29. Who do they play in 29? Is that Burnley at home? Yeah. So Dewsbury Hall does work quite well for me. Fix my bench order. I mean, this is what I was planning on doing. Dorgu versus Richards is close. I think Chelsea probably score. With Palace being all over the place. So I'd probably take the chance on... I'm probably going to... So, I mean, if I could do that, I'm going to get accused that I knew that Foden wasn't going to start, but it's just because I know Tavernier is not going to play. Dorgu 20-pointer is inevitable. I mean, if he keeps scoring 20 pointers, it means that when the good fixtures come around, I'll be able to actually start him. Oh dear. Right, anything more I've been tagged in? No, not really. Nothing reliable. What about James Garner? He's gone up, though. The only issue is he's gone up a little bit, and I don't really want Garner and Anderson. Like, I want one explosive and one reliable, cheap option. So I'd go Dewsbury Hall, Anderson, I think. And Dewsbury Hall is much cheaper now. Would I start O'Reilly this week? You've got Hall, Van Dijk, Gabriel, Alderete in addition to O'Reilly. Van Dijk, I'd probably play O'Reilly over Alderete, yeah. And just hope he plays. Transfer Foden to Rice. I've got no issue with that transfer, to be honest. If you just don't want to have the Foden risk, you can do it. There's 23 minutes to the deadline, so you may as well wait and see. Because if we randomly got news that Foden was going to start, then maybe that would change it. So there's no reason to make it now. But Foden has only scored twice against Wolves. They were both away. I mean, I wish I'd... Have I said it already this stream? I wish I did the transfer. Hopefully it's just not. Hopefully it's only a few point swing. Either way, but yeah. Thoughts on Stack long term? So Longstaff is back, so I just want to see what that does to the Leeds team. Also, I don't think the Leeds fixtures are that great long term. Like, I don't really want to play him in most of these. Stack, he's an interesting one though. He takes some set pieces. He's on pens, but with Longstaff back. Yeah, it just muddies the water a little bit because if you remember last time we bought Stack, he then got dropped when Longstaff was started playing. Foden surely starts. Foden doesn't surely start. It looks the opposite at the moment, but I'm keeping my eye on everything that I possibly can. That's why I probably look very distracted today because I'm refreshing tabs. I'm looking on forums. I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at like Twitter. I'm looking at Instagram posts. I'm trying to find, anything I can on someone useful about who's going to start or not. Is Neto a good differential? Again, I think the Chelsea attack, their minutes over the next few is a bit of a concern. Am I in Tony's Patreon? I don't even know if Tony does his Patreon anymore. So no, I'm not. O'Reilly to Chalobah for free. If you don't want to take the risk, then I've got no issue with it. I don't have an issue with it. Stack won't be dropped for Longstaff, but he's not fully fit is the doubt. I mean, I don't have an issue with that, and Stack has been good, but it's just if his minutes start to creep down again, because his DEFCON is not bad, but it's very close to the threshold, like 11, 13, 12, 13, right? But if you start playing 80 minutes instead of 90, you start getting 9, 10, 11, 9, 10, 11 in all of these, and suddenly it becomes a worse pick. So that's the issue with that. Where is FPL Tony when you need him? I know. Are you confident in any trades you're getting to make next week? I'll almost certainly buy Bruno next week in place of Tavernier, effectively. And then to get the money, I'll either sell Saka, Ekitike, or Foden. Or something else happens, right? Someone else gets injured and then I have another route, right? But get Lafie if you want explosive. Yeah, but again, the issue with Lafie is but the next two are good, right? But after that, it's not great. Like the weeks I've got issues with my team are 26, he's got Liverpool, 28, he's got Bournemouth away, and 31, he's got Newcastle away. And if he does lose pens because he missed the other one being an idiot, then he just becomes worse. So he's not a bad pick, though. Who would I buy if I need to sell Ekitike to get the money? It might go all the way down to Krupi Jr., depending on what Bournemouth do in the transfer window. It could be all the way. I can't quite afford Calvert-Lewin, unfortunately. Unless I sell Foden as well, which is possible. Like, I can do Tavernier, Foden, Ekitike to, like, Calvert-Lewin, Bruno, and then, like, Rodgers or something. So all of that is possible. Timber, Szoboszlai, or Rodgers. You've got Gabriel starting. I'd probably play Timber over Szoboszlai, I think. I've seen the FPL Citizens and Stat City. The issue is I've got no idea if they're reliable or not, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, no idea who's reliable and who's not. They're very reliable. I've never seen them before. You may just take the gamble on Thiago captain, to be fair. Yeah. I think he's up there. I think he's second in my ranking. I think I might change my captaincy ranking slightly. I'm not sure I trust. I think Forest are pretty good defensively, better defensively recently. So I might be tempted to go Saka third, then Ekitike, then Thiago. But it's pretty close. We've got 17 minutes to go until the deadline as well. How long will Tavernier be on the sidelines? It looks like a month minimum. Sangare back as well is a boost for them. Absolutely. The only thing is they do have Dango Atara back, so good for Thiago and good for him getting pens. Why not Ndiaye this week and Bruno for Saka next week? I don't know if I'm definitely selling Saka. I don't know. I definitely want to sell Saka. So, yeah. I mean, if I don't make the transfer this week, I'll probably wait until tomorrow, unless Foden stinks it up, and then I might just not want to risk the value. But I probably will wait until tomorrow. How am I? I'm very good, thank you, FPL Mint. I'm currently ranked 66k with 3 free transfers. This is your team. What should I do, and what's my advice? Haaland, Thiago is good. Wilson, Cunha, Saka, Anderson, Foden, Dorgu, Dubravka. Okay, so to be honest, you're probably looking at Cunha and Foden to Bruno and a cheaper mid over the next couple of weeks. So probably do Cunha to a cheaper mid, leave money in the bank for Foden to Bruno next week. No need to sell Foden. I'm keeping an eye on all predictions at the moment. Yeah. I'm also keeping an eye on other people who have had City leaks in the past and what they do with their team. I'm fully expecting Foden to be benched as well now. Why not Foden to Semenyo? I don't have the transfers to be doing that. Really, I mean, I know it could just pay off and Semenyo scores and Foden blanks, and then it's just nice to have Semenyo, but it would then force a hit for Bruno next week. This is awful, I know. City's projected goals have come down again. Yeah, I keep seeing that. They're still pretty high though, but yes. Burashid, let me take a look. Sorry. Foden to Bruno and Guiu to Tati for a -4 and deal with Tavernier next week. I wouldn't buy Tati. If you're buying a cheap forward, I would just buy probably Creepy or Calvert-Lewin. Man City Wolves, huge banana skin with Wolves being better. Maybe Pep doesn't rotate as much. Foden and Cunha out. I don't mind selling Cunha this week. I'm not sure I'd sell Foden unless there's something. I mean, if you don't want to have the risk of Foden, I'm not against it, right? Someone saying Oscar's going to sell Foden to Bruno regardless. I don't blame him, to be honest. Don't blame him. It's not worth this stress and this hassle, is it? We've got 13 minutes to go until the deadline. Comment on Garner. I think he's a pretty decent, cheap alternative. The only thing I'd say with him is with Dewsbury Hall coming back, he'll lose some set pieces. So that just makes him a little bit worse. And he's crept up in price a little bit. So I would probably not get him now, I don't think. Please be careful that the accounts you're seeing on Twitter are actually the account that you think you're looking at. Few people saying they're seeing tweets from FPL Main Road, and he has not tweeted anything. If Foden bench, Foden Heaven out for Bruno, Mark Gay. Yeah, I mean, the Heaven to Mark Gay transfer feels slightly separate, but yes. FPL Citizens not legit. We don't know. They haven't been posting very long. The tweets they've got up from last week are right, but I can't remember. I don't remember seeing any others from them that they might have deleted. People saying that they're legit. Oh, dear. Yeah, Luke's just replied to the drop in predictions. Those drop in predictions is not a good sign. Right? They've just dropped City's goal projections by 0.2 this morning. I'm going to do my best to keep answering questions, but I'm also aware that actually the biggest dilemma going into the deadline is what to do with your City players. And me having a look at what is likely to happen is probably the most important thing. So as much as I know some of you might have benching decisions, this is going to be the most important, to be honest. Oh, here we go. Okay, right. Hang on. Chaos. Apparently, Lazy FPL have tweeted that Haaland and Foden are both not starting. The site may well crash, so please get a move on with your transfers. Right. I should have gone last night, but Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall. It's just and Foden to Fernandez. Thank you all. Look at this. You're the best. Oh, God. Okay, where is it? Here. Who do I captain? Four-point hit. I should have just gone last night, don't know, but how certain am I? I don't know. Like they're right most of the time, and I'm going to act on it. Whether it's 100% right, I don't know, but yeah, I know Focal shared it as well. I mean, absolute chaos, right? Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall, Foden to Bruno. Okay, now who do we captain? And who do I bench Haaland for? Surely I'm not going to play Dorgu. Or, oh no. Who do I play? Do I just take the chance on Dewsbury Hall or do I play Dorgu? Oh no. Is Saka? I'm on Saka at the moment with... who do I... Haaland could well come on. It's true. But... So those of you who just joined, apparently from a source that's normally reliable, of course, take the information at your own risk. But apparently Haaland and Foden are both not starting. That's not my team anymore. Dorgu, a -4 with Dorgu in my starting 11. Should I have bought Lafie instead? Maybe I should have bought Lafie. I'm going to have 5 players in that game. Do I just take the chance that Dewsbury Hall starts? How long have we got? 3 minutes. Play Haaland anyway. This is not ideal, this. Just play Haaland. Who do I have first sub then? Yeah, I think I just play Haaland. Captain. Haaland 20 minutes better than Dorgu. Should I put Dewsbury Hall above? I mean, so I've got Saka and then Ekitike and then Thiago. Thiago, the easiest pick. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go Saka. Yeah, I'm going to start Haaland because I don't think my subs are good enough. I think I captain Saka. This is a nightmare, this. Nightmare. Right. Yeah. KSI, thank you very much for the super chat. Yes, I'm sure you're absolutely loving life as a Haaland non-owner. You're absolutely loving it. Enjoying the rest of us absolutely all over the place. Right. Team just looks rubbish this week. Oh dear. How long have we got? We have got just over a minute until the deadline. Thank you for joining as well, Kess. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Right. Captain Saka. Do I play Dorgu or do I play Dewsbury Hall? Do I play Dorgu or do I play Dewsbury Hall? I'm now being taunted by KSI. Brilliant. Yeah, do I play Dorgu or Dewsbury Hall first sub? I mean, this is the level that we're at here. I think I'm going Dorgu if Haaland doesn't feature. Dewsbury Hall won't play. I don't really want Dorgu. I'm going Dewsbury Hall first sub. Taking a chance that he plays. Taking a chance on Dewsbury Hall. That is going to be the deadline. Please go and check your teams. I took a -4 for Bruno in for Foden and Dewsbury Hall in for Tavernier. Oh, I don't even know. Who knows? And Captain Saka, Vice Captain Ekitike. I started Haaland. Just in case they're wrong. Let's hope they're all wrong. Let's hope they're wrong. Right. Let's go and tweet the team. Gameweek 20 team. So Foden plus who did I sell? Foden and Tavernier to Bruno plus Dewsbury Hall, Saka captain, Haaland starting, benched, KDH. Looks Right, let me just post it on Instagram as well. Yeah, they benched, most people benched Haaland, but I don't really have the sub for him. Captaincy is going to be interesting. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see where the captaincy ends up. To be honest. And then getting taunted by KSI. I didn't have that on my bingo card for my Saturday morning. Let's do a captaincy poll, right? Start a poll. Captaincy. Saka, Ekitike, Thiago. I literally said it would be chaos in this stream. Semenyo, people on Semenyo. Wow. Quite a lot of people on Semenyo. Oh, I didn't even say that it was a -4. Give me a second. Right. Other is 31%. Is that Semenyo? Am I about to see a Semenyo about 70% owned? Ross also started Haaland. Interesting. I thought everyone would just bench him. I didn't really have the luxury. Oh dear. I mean, chaos of all the chaos. What should we do? Where even are we? What time is it? 5 minutes past the deadline. Right. I'm apologies for the lack of talking for the last 5 minutes. If you are heading off, thank you for joining. He's got Anderson first sub, which I'm surprised by. I didn't have a sub, right? So I kind of didn't really have a choice. I hope they're just wrong, right? Yeah, can we all just take a little minute? Didn't captain Semenyo and a -4. Yeah, good. I panicked. I did, but I did do what I planned on doing. It's just the captaincy. So Haaland, Foden bench, Foden to Bruno Fernandes, Tavernier to Dewsbury Hall, bench Haaland, captain Thiago Ekitike or Saka, which I did. But I now might have 5 players in that game on Sunday with my captain. Apparently Haaland's not starting. I mean, let's hope. If he scores, that would be great, but who did everyone captain? Who did everyone captain? Who did Ross captain? Ross went Saka. Interesting. Who did... I'm interested that everyone's gone Saka. Oscar also went Saka. Interesting. Right, let's do some FPL challenge, shall we? I wonder where the -4 takes me. That's a couple of hits recently. It's not ideal, but when my game updates, we'll have a look at my team. I just should have done it early, and then I'm not being priced out, but I thought there was a good chance Foden would start. It's good for Cherky owners, though. Red arrow is where it takes me. Oh, yeah. Right, let's look at some fancy challenge. I actually picked it already because I had to do it when I was on the show yesterday. Oh, it didn't save. So I went with Raya in goal. We're now going with Semenyo in midfield. 1-3-1. We're going with... There's a Dribbles. Yeah. Illiman and Dye on Monday night. And Harry Wilson. I'm going to put Harry Wilson in there because he hurts my rank up front. It's not really anyone that I particularly want here. Oh yeah, Bowen's very good at it. And Coyote. Right. I'm probably going to leave it at that and wrap up the stream there. The team just doesn't feel great this week. But yeah, hopefully it starts. Hopefully it's not the worst week. But it doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel great, I have to admit. I got triple Arsenal against Bruno, and I'm not going to get Dorgu off the bench. So triple Arsenal, and it'll be Dewsbury Hall if Haaland doesn't play. Yeah, it is what it is now. Unfortunately, hopefully my team looks better from next week, and I don't have loads of issues with it. It just doesn't feel great this week. Should have done it last weekend when the original... It's only Lazy FPL that said... there are others, but Lazy FPL have been pretty reliable. I'd be surprised if they're wrong. Dewsbury Hall is expected back in the squad, yeah. And then their fixtures coming up are not bad as well. He's a pretty good fifth mid. I'm pretty happy with him. It's just the week that I've bought him, it's not ideal. But 7 returns he got in the first 14 games because he didn't play that. 13 games if you take that out. So, yeah, it's not the end of the world. I quite like him long term until my wild card now. So, yeah, let's see. Anyway, it looks like Cherky will probably start. We don't get anything on O'Reilly or anything like that, but we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. And, yeah, have a good one. Thank you all for joining. Like and subscribe before you go. Good luck this week. And, yeah, I'll catch you all very soon.